Sawadee Ka. Good morning, everyone. Welcome along to today's webinar session. Today we're going to be looking at K2, a curriculum presentation. We have some of the K2 team here to talk you through, give you a little bit of an in-depth look at how the curriculum and teaching and learning works in K2. We feel this would be quite important, not just for our K2 parents, but perhaps for K1 parents who are going to transition next year into K2. As always, questions are important. Please leave your comments in the box below and we will get through them as we go through the webinar, or at the very least we'll address them in maybe some future webinars. I think you know who I am at this point, but I'll introduce myself anyway. My name is Mr. Mark and I am the principal of kindergarten.
Sawadee Ka. My name is Babita Seth and I am the IB coordinator.
Sawadee Ka. My name is Miss Anana and I am one of the homework teachers from K2.
สวัสดีค่ะคุณครูชื่อคุณครูแอนนะคะเป็นคุณครูประจำชั้นอยู่ห้อง K2 ค่ะ
Okay, so let's take us through our agenda for today so we can see what's coming up. So the team are going to talk through the journey through K2 so far. We're actually coming towards the end of our academic year, so quite a lot has already been achieved. So the team will talk you through some of those different aspects. We'll also take a little look about what lies ahead before we finish the academic year. We'll then dive a little bit into teaching and learning within K2 and within the PYP, how we weave all of the different elements together. We'll look, of course, at assessment, which is always a big hot topic. We'll take a little sneak peek in the classroom to look at day-to-day learning in K2, and then looking at some of the goals and expectations that we have for K2 children to achieve by the end of an academic year. This one particularly will be of importance, I'm sure, to all our K1 and K2 parents who are watching today. Okay, so let's get started. I, for one, am excited to get stuck into what we're going to look at today. Okay?
Sure. So we have started 4 units so far, and I would like to guide you through from the first unit till the unit number 4 that we are currently studying. So our unit number 1 was about who we are, discovering the senses, and the different way that they are used. In this unit, we let the children explore their senses using different provocations, like food with different tastes, musical instrument for their hearing, quite loud noises, and different smells as well, like good for the flowers or tasty food, or bad smells. We use different materials for their sense of touch, like fluffy, hard, soft, bumpy, and also we like to do activities outside, like going for the shapes hunt for their sense of sight. So finding out more about their senses, students could also understand their preferences as well as to realize that taste differ.
How did the children react to that unit? It sounds like quite an exploratory unit, a lot of like senses. Children in general, right? They learn a lot through smell, touch, taste. How did they react to a unit like that?
Oh, well, usually they are very excited because it's something new, and all the teachers know that children learn better when they can use their own senses. So when they explore more, especially the sense of touch, something that they can really take into their hands, usually it provides them more ideas, and they would like to explore more things at school, at their homes, or outside. And also they love to share it. They love to come home and tell to their parents what they have learned at school, or maybe sometimes they would bring different materials to school from their home to share with the teachers and with the other kids, so they can also learn how to do the presentation at this point.
How was the first unit experience when they learning about Thai language?
สำหรับในยูนิตที่1นะคะของครูไทยเนี่ยนะคะเราก็จะให้เด็กๆนะคะได้เรียนรู้กับการสัมผัสทั้ง5ค่ะนั่นก็คือการลิ้มรสนะคะการใช้สายตานะคะการสัมผัสการดมกลิ่นนะคะการใช้ภาษากายนะคะซึ่งแต่ละอย่างเนี่ยคุณครูก็จะมีกิจกรรมให้เด็กๆได้ลงไปเรียนรู้นะคะได้ลองใช้การเล่นนะคะใช้การเล่นในการเรียนรู้นะคะเช่นมีอาหารนะคะให้เด็กๆได้ลองชิมรสดูว่าอาหาร เป็นรสชาติแบบไหนนะคะเป็นรสเผ็ดรสหวานหรือว่าเป็นรสเปรี้ยวรสเค็มนะคะนอกจากการลิ้มรสแล้วนะคะก็จะมีอย่างเช่นการสัมผัสค่ะการสัมผัสพื้นผิวต่างๆนะคะเช่นพื้นผิวขรุขระพื้นผิวนิ่มพื้นผิวแข็งนะคะคุณครูและทิเชอร์นะคะก็จะพาเด็กๆออกมานอกห้องเรียนค่ะมาเรียนรู้นอกห้องเรียนสัมผัสกับธรรมชาตินะคะแล้วให้เด็กๆช่วยกันตอบค่ะว่าสิ่งที่เด็กๆได้สัมผัสนั้นสิ่งที่เด็กได้เห็นนั้นนะคะมีลักษณะอย่างไรนะคะประมาณนี้ค่ะ
The picture over here, it looks very interesting. What are the children doing in this picture? Where I could see a group of children, they are working together. I'm not sure it is about touch, so what are they working on?
The central picture that you can see, the children went outside to experience more what they can see. Usually we would give them the magnifying glasses and ask them, what can you see through the magnifying glass? So they can take a closer look to the grass. Maybe they will find some insects in there. Maybe they will look for some flowers, or we would like to go further. And as we have 2 little ponds in our kindergarten, usually they would go there to find a frog or a fish that might be swimming inside. So at this picture you can see that one girl, she has already found the leaf and a small part of the flower, so she was excited to share it with the teacher, like, teacher, please have a look what I found here.
Yes, it seems very engaged in this activity, as you see. And even the other picture, when you're looking at the touch, I can see the expression in their face. It's like they're enjoying a lot.
Yes, for sure. So some activities, the children might get dirty, especially while exploring the sense of touch. But that's what we want to do. We want them to explore as much as they can, even if they get dirty. That's how they learn, how they find out about different things. And also another picture is about the sense of taste. So as we give them different food like fruits, healthy snacks, or maybe popcorn sometimes, so they can actually taste and know what it feels like. What does sweet taste like? What does salty taste like? You cannot just show it with the flashcards. They should actually taste it. And afterwards, we also did the activities. We were asking them, so what kind of taste can you remember? Or we can even go further, like when you eat popcorn, can you hear any sound? So we will try to use different senses, even in one activity. We will promote them to reflect on their sense of taste and sense of hearing as well.
There's 2 things actually that I take away from listening to the description of this unit. And anyone that knows me will know how much I like to talk about outdoor learning and outdoor play and how the outdoor environment can enhance so many different things in the classroom. We're quite lucky at SBS in that we've got quite a lot of nice nature outdoor space. How do you feel? Like, what do you think are the best ways to try and incorporate that into your classroom?
It's definitely beneficial for children to play and learn outside as much as possible because, to be honest, they get quite used to the classroom in which they are studying all the time. So they feel like even if they do activities inside, it might be not so interesting and not so exciting to them. But if every time they go outside, the nature will be changing. One time it will be sunny, one time it will be windy, and one day the flowers will bloom, one day the leaves will fall down. And so all of these, they promote their thinking skills, and they can find out more about the world around them, and they can use their senses more.
I think the
perfect unit where they can actually learn all the senses when they are outside more.
Yes.
Yeah, they learn to develop all the senses to sight, like seeing, watching, observing, and then when they go around and touch differently to different other stuff, they develop their senses to touch. And they're developing different vocabulary by being outside more.
For sure.
You know, when they're looking into outside, the nature gives them so much to explore, so much to learn from it. Maybe language or shapes, they can really connect when they're outside.
I think they're also making choices because they're able to pick and choose what's interesting for them. If you have someone who is quite keen to investigate plant life and leaves, well, that opportunity is there. Another child might be wanting to explore insects, finding different little animals that are moving around in the grass. And other children might just want to exercise and run around and burn off some of that energy. But outside environment gives that choice for all these children to learn in different kinds of ways.
Yeah, that's true.
The second thing I would say that's really interesting about this unit and kind of confirmed for me is the constructive nature in early learning, in that children build knowledge and build understanding, and they do it through experiences, right? And as a teacher, you know, our goal is to provide them the experiences, give them all the opportunities, yeah?
Okay, moving into the next unit. Could you take us through the second unit?
ในยูนิตที่2นะคะเป็นการเรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับ how we express ourselves นะคะก็คือเราแสดงตัวตนของเราออกมายังไงนะคะในหน่วยการเรียนรู้นี้เนี่ยเราก็จะพูดถึงความรู้สึกที่แตกต่างกันของพวกเขานะคะเช่นความรู้สึกโกรธดีใจเสียใจและอารมณ์กลัวค่ะจะทำให้พวกเขานะคะเข้าใจวิธีต่างๆที่พวกเขาสามารถสื่อสารความรู้สึกของพวกเขาออกมาได้ค่ะความรู้สึกที่สื่อสารออกไปสื่อสารอย่างไรคะพวกเขาถึงจะสื่อสารได้อย่างถูกต้องนะคะเช่นมีการภาษาพูดภาษากายหรือการแสดงออกทางสีหน้านะคะพวกเขาจะสามารถเลือกวิธีใช้ที่เหมาะสมในการสื่อสารของพวกเขาค่ะซึ่งในหน่วยนี้นะคะกิจกรรมที่คุณครูใช้เนี่ยก็คือจะมีกิจกรรมการเล่านิทานคุณครูอาจจะเป็นคนเล่าก็ได้นะคะถ้าคุณครูเป็นคนเล่าเนี่ยก็จะถามเกี่ยวกับว่าตัวละครตัวนี้เนี่ยเมื่อเขาแสดงพฤติกรรมดังต่อไปนี้เขารู้สึกอย่างไรแล้วผู้ที่สนทนากับเขาเนี่ยรู้สึกยังไงนะคะถ้าเปลี่ยนจากคุณครูเป็นคนเล่านิทานเปลี่ยนมาเป็นเด็กๆเล่าแทนคุณครูนะคะเด็กๆก็จะดูภาพดูจากสีหน้าลักษณะท่าทางของตัวละครในหนังสือนะคะว่าตัวละครเนี่ยแสดงลักษณะแบบนี้นะคะเขารู้สึกยังไงอยู่เขากำลังแสดงอาการกิริยาหรือว่าเขากำลังคิดอะไรอยู่นะคะนอกจากกิจกรรมนี้แล้วเนี่ยยังมีอีกกิจกรรมอีกมากมายนะคะที่คุณครูเตรียมให้เด็กๆในหน่วยการเรียนรู้นี้เช่นการวาดภาพนะคะแล้วนำเสนอต่อเพื่อนๆนะคะเพื่อแสดงความรู้สึกของตัวเองออกมานะคะการแสดงบทบาทสมมุติการดูเรื่องสั้นนะคะดูเรื่องสั้นแล้วจินตนาการต่อว่าตัวละครรู้สึกอย่างไรนะคะหรือว่าเขาดูแล้วเขารู้สึกอย่างไรนะคะค่ะประมาณนี้
For me, I mean, this particular unit has always been one of my favorites as a teacher, how we express ourselves. Because of the very nature that it is expression, it's very heavily language-based, developing literacy skills, whether it comes from role plays or dramatic performances or stories and books. There's so many different language elements built into this particular unit. And for feelings, for children to be able to describe feelings and to understand feelings, it's quite a difficult thing for children in the beginning to deal with emotion and how to deal with emotion effectively. And I think this is a really strong unit for their development.
For sure it is. I also love the continuum of learning, how the transition goes from the first unit to the second unit. Because if you all think about it, after students finish the first unit about their tastes and preferences, they found out more about their preferences and they could go deeper and explore how our senses affect our feelings. So, for example, if I listen to this music, how does it make me feel? Does it make me feel sad, scared, or happy? What feelings do I have? And how to name these feelings for sure. So, this unit is a lot about expanding the vocabulary of children. And also in this unit, we will study how the feelings affect relationship. So the student will get the understanding how the others will react if I speak in an angry voice or a sad voice or a happy voice, And for sure, in this unit we also take a closer look on how to cope with the feelings. We usually will teach the kids some techniques of how they can cope with their anger, or if they feel stressed, or what they can do. For example, we'll teach them that they can count to 10 or breathe deeply if they feel like they're angry and don't want to share the toy or want to push someone. It's better to take a deep breath and go away and rest for some time. Usually, and also for sure, we will speak about how can they express their emotions. And there are so many ways, because they can do it while they're doing some art, or while speaking, or maybe they can draw something or create, even to build something. And in this unit, we also started with simple patterns, and we'll work the way to more complex patterns using different kinds of materials like toys, shapes, move, numbers, and so on. So we inbuilt the academic skills as well while we are studying about this unit.
Yeah, I think the skill integration there, when you're talking about social skills, right? Heavily.
It is there in this unit, and I agree with Helena. It's a perfect blend of the first unit. You take that knowledge and apply it in the second unit.
Yeah.
So when they're in the first unit, they started developing those vocabulary. I like this is understanding all color, developing the vocabulary and language of senses, feelings, emotions, everything, and then apply it here. It's a very well connected both the units, you know. And as you are saying, correct, I mean, developing all these different skills. Social skills, definitely, when they are collaborating and communicating their ideas together. Because there are so many opportunities here that I'm sure that they are looking into emotions, you know. And emotion works well with social skills and communication skills. They need to, let's say if they are just doing role play, yeah, and they are looking into different emotions that they go through in that role play, or just enacting a simple story, or even the playing simple play like playing teachers in their own as a role play. They are going through all these different kind of emotions. They are presenting it, and through that they are developing their communication skills.
Yeah.
And then
confidence as well, of course, which is always a big factor.
Because they develop their understanding of their own emotions and then the emotions of others. While teaching these units, we will also pay the attention not only about the names of the emotions, but we will ask them, okay, so if the person is angry, how will he or she look like? Maybe they will be frowning or crossing their hands. Like we're giving them the ideas what the person will look like when they have this kind of emotion. And we were also teaching them, if you see that the person is sad, how do you think what you can do? Maybe you can come up to this person and say something nice, or maybe hug your friend or mommy. And if you see that the person is angry, or your classmate doesn't want to share a toy, what should you do? Should you go and fight with them? For sure, no. Maybe it's better to go away and play with another toy. So yes, we're building social skills a lot.
Yeah, it's very powerful. Empathy, very powerful feelings, yeah?
It's actually feelings and ideas together, and they both are connected so well. And as you're talking about patterns provide a very good platform for the children to share their ideas, express their ideas, not just feelings. Like that helps them to develop how to express their ideas well. So I think this is one of the, as you said, one of the most important unit for K2 students to explore. How do we share our ideas? How do we share our feelings?
Sure, and while learning more about the patterns, students also they are promoting their learning agency, because they are the ones who will be picking the colors of the toys if they want to use them in a particular pattern. And we would also teach them to notice the patterns everywhere. because the patterns, they are not only the toys that they might be using while creating the pattern. It might be the music. There are a lot of patterns in the music, or there might be the dance moves.
Yes.
So yes, it's a great opportunity for them to start noticing these small things all around. And I would like to speak more about this slide.
Picture here, it's very provocative. What are they doing?
During this unit, they had an opportunity to describe their emotions in the way that they would like to describe it. So it's a learning agency, and it actually was one of our assessments. So we asked the students to plan how would they like to present the emotion. First, we were asking them, what kind of emotion would you like to present? Happy, sad, angry, any other emotion? Second, they should plan in what way would they like to present it. Would they like to draw? Would they like to build something? Would they like to dance? And at the third stage, after some rehearsal, they would actually present their idea. So at the picture that you can see, these students, they decided to come up with a scary and sad emotions. So they wanted to build something. We had some cups in the classroom, so they decided that they can build a tower. And I asked them, this tower looks great, and how will you show that this is the sad tower? Is there anything more that we can put on there? So they said, okay, then we will put a girl on top of the tower, and she will be sad because she's missing her parents. And they decided to add a little bit of more ghosts because it was the time close to the Halloween. So they decided to draw and put some more ghosts on the tower, so it would also be a scary tower. Yes, then this girl, you can see her name is Rainbow. She was doing the presentation, and she was actually telling what this tower is about and why is it a sad tower or scary tower. So actually, in this unit, they build their independent choice and their confidence a lot.
Also, I think how important the teachers' questions are in extending the children's understanding, challenging them to think more, to think a little bit deeper. So they build a tower, but you're asking them, how is that going to connect? So they have to think further, and in this way we are scaffolding them to more deeper understandings of what they're doing, and that's a powerful part. Our questions are incredibly important.
Here also I'd like to share, as you are talking about, they planned it. They planned it first, a rough plan, added more details, and then more details. So there goes, how do you share your ideas? They are learning how to plan and how to share ideas by adding step by step more action to it. So it's
computational thinking.
It is.
Step by step.
And not so many children are able to actually do some kind of planning in this age. So the children at our school and our classes, they have this opportunity which will serve them greatly as they will grow older.
It's lifelong learning. Yeah. What were some of the takeaways, Graham? What was your favourite part as a teacher in this unit? What activity did you like best?
ในกิจกรรมที่เราทำในหน่วยการเรียนรู้นี้นะคะที่คุณครูชอบนะคะก็คือมีกิจกรรมที่ชื่อเปิดเสียงค่ะเป็นเสียงในกิจกรรมต่างๆนะคะว่าเช่นมีเสียงกิจกรรมที่เด็กๆทำแล้วสนุกแต่ว่าได้ยินแต่เสียงนะคะทำแล้วสนุกก็จะมีเด็กๆเสียงเด็กๆหัวเราะกันมีเสียงกิจกรรมต่างๆแล้วก็ถามเด็กๆว่าเสียงเนี้ยเด็กๆในเสียงเนี่ยเขารู้สึกยังไงอยู่นะคะหรือว่าจะเป็นเสียงน่ากลัวอยู่ในคลิปวิดีโอนั้นนะคะแล้วถามเด็กๆว่าเสียงเนี้ยเป็นเสียงที่คนในคลิปวิดีโอนั้นน่ะเขารู้สึกยังไงอยู่เด็กๆคิดว่าเขาทำอะไรกันอยู่คือให้เขาคิดต่อจากเสียงที่เราเปิดให้เขาฟังนะคะเป็นการ imagination ที่แบบเด็กๆสามารถจินตนาการต่อยอดไปได้
Okay, so your unit that's just finished, let's take a look at that one.
The unit number 3, the name is Sharing the Planet, and food is valuable for life and we use it responsibly. So we promote the thinking skills even more in this unit. After the second unit, when we understand that our feelings matter and the feelings of others are also important, we go further and we find out how we should care about the others, the living beings, and the planet. So at first, the students will learn about different kinds of food that they can get, like vegetables, fruit, dairy, proteins. They will sort them into healthy and unhealthy kinds of food. We will also explore their thinking process on why they think foods were healthy or unhealthy. We'll also talk more about source of this food. We will ask them how they think. Where does the food come from? Do you just go to 7-Eleven to buy it? Or do you just get it from your mom or dad? So they will learn more that most of the food will come from the farm, the process of the growth, maybe of some vegetables, the process. Sometimes even we would speak more about the food cycle. We had such an activity at our kindergarten. So the kids actually had the role play when they can decide on what stage of food cycle would they like to play: farm, package, delivery, shop, and the restaurant. So they implemented their learning agency. They picked up a role for themselves, and then we were doing the food cycle in our classroom. And they loved their activity a lot. We will also talk more that all living things need food, and living things, they do not only include animals but plants as well. So students had to discuss what animals and plants need to survive. So usually they will find out that all the living things need water and air to breathe and some kind of food. During this unit they had to plant and take care of the seeds. So they had a journal of their own. When they planted the seeds, they were taking small notes or maybe drawing. So each day they were carefully planting them, watering, observing them, and they were so happy when they had their little garden on the 6th or 7th day after they planted them. So usually they would also take care of some animals. If they have the animal at home, like a dog or a cat, they can give the food to their pets. But in case they don't have it, and you can see it on the picture, there was one student who decided to go outside to take some food and to feed fish in the river. And it was a great idea. He loved that activity so much, and we were so happy that parents decided to take part in learning and actually help the child to explore more, not only at home but outside. What can they do to help the living things and the animals?
I think also that's a good example of maybe a student taking some initiated action based on something they're learning about, right? And then that's kind of a key what we want to develop.
True.
Yeah.
It is also, look at that center, like the big idea is food is valuable for life and we use it responsibly. For a K2 child, it's definitely difficult. But when you look at the action, they definitely got it. Yeah. They understood, they are able to make connection with that it is our responsibility too to make sure that we take care of others, that we share this food with everyone as well. It's not technically like the bread should be. It is more about in a bigger world which we see, we share the food with everyone, with animals, plants, as they explore. So definitely it's a very good action. But what I like the most here is the partnership with the parents. See, we definitely want the parents to be equally involved in the students' learning. And this is a very good example of that.
Yeah, definitely. It takes a village. This actually coincided with our lockdown, right? So this was probably a lot of parent involvement within this unit, I would say, for the month of January.
Oh, it was, and we were so happy that the parents decided to help their own kids to learn more. So teachers, as the teachers, we would usually provide the daily plan for the activities that the kids can do during this unit. We'd also prepare the resource pack for them to have. And we were doing the Zoom sessions daily, and they were bilingual. So one Zoom session will be with the expert teacher, and one Zoom session will be with the Thai teacher. So although we give all of this learning information, but we all understand that the children are at home, so they might need some additional help. And if we want them to reflect later on the activities that they have done already, we actually would like parents to take a closer look whether they want to help the children with the activities that they can do. Some of the activities like crafts or maybe drawing the food that they have eaten, it's very easy for a child to do it on their own, so it doesn't need the parent guidance. But as you can see on the next slide of making and sharing food, when the parents would actually be involved into the learning, the activities can go far and beyond the expectations. So for this unit, we were asking the children to have a small role play. We call it at the restaurants. So the child would be a chef that is ready to cook the food, and their relatives or friends, we have different, can actually ask them to prepare some food. And in this role play, they had an opportunity to understand that it's not so easy to cook the food. so it's also about the responsibility about the food, and they would also learn that they can share it with their loved ones. So they will get these two important ideas about the food responsibility and about sharing.
I think there have been a lot of learning targets in this unit, starting from where we get our food, how do we get that food delivered to our house, or how even if when the food is at home, how it comes to your plate, how much of effort is been given in that by your parents, by family members, and how much of effort was put by the farmers in growing those food for you or others. So I think that was this activity that we're talking about is definitely one of the favorite activity I think will be for the children to understand how much of effort has been put in everything and why they should use the food responsibly.
Appreciation for it all.
Appreciation for it.
And I do think we're quite lucky that our parent community are actively involved in school events and children's learning. And I think probably at home, having had the time to work with their children and to explore together, I hope many of our community will have seen the importance of the experienced player partner in learning, to co-construct knowledge, to co-construct understanding, and to model and to guide children to that level of understanding they would never achieve on their own. And how important that experienced player is, whether it be a teacher, a parent, or somebody else within the community.
I think last year in this unit, the students, they visited the farm, isn't it, Joanne? Did they go on a field trip last year?
Oh, last year.
Yeah.
I stayed KG.
That's right, yeah. They did. They went to visit, I think, Thammasat Open Farm. And so again, that was an opportunity for them to go and see rice, plant rice, to explore different aspects of the food process that it goes through. Unfortunately, this year with COVID, field trips have had to be knocked on the head with safety requirements. But hopefully they will return at some point again, and that would be definitely another way to enhance learning.
And although we didn't have the actual field trips, we had some virtual field trips. For example, to aquarium, because for children it's always more interesting to actually look at the living beings than just talk about them. And as you can see on this slide, after the students were cooking the food and sharing it, we go further into caring about the planet, and we were talking about recycling materials. What do you do with the packaging after the food is being cooked and eaten? Yes, so they were trying to create different things using recycled objects, and moreover, in this unit number 3, the students were creating pictographs on their own to represent different kinds of data that was collected, like favorite foods.
There's your math integration there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about your reflections on this unit? What did you think about it?
สำหรับในยูนิตนี้นะคะเด็กๆรู้สึกว่าเด็กๆชื่นชอบมากเลยนะคะเกี่ยวกับเรียนในหน่วยการเรียนรู้นี้เพราะว่าพวกเขาเนี่ยได้เรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับสัตว์ในฟาร์มต่างๆได้เรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับอาหารที่พวกเขาทานเข้าไปว่าอาหารชนิดไหนบ้างมีประโยชน์อาหารแบบไหนบ้างที่พวกไม่มีประโยชน์ให้พวกเขาสามารถเลือกทานได้ดีมากขึ้นนะคะแล้วก็กิจกรรมที่เด็กๆชอบแล้วก็กลับมาพูดให้คุณครูฟังเนี่ยก็คือกิจกรรมการทำอาหารอย่างในรูปภาพนะคะพวกเขาได้ลองบางคนเนี่ยได้ลองฝึกทำอาหารเป็นครั้งแรกนะคะกับคุณพ่อคุณแม่นะคะเขาภูมิใจมากค่ะที่เขาได้ทำอาหารเหล่านี้นะคะแล้วก็เอามาโชว์ให้เพื่อนๆในห้องได้ดูค่ะซึ่งกิจกรรมนี้เนี่ยนอกจากเป็นประสบการณ์ของพวกเขาแล้วนะคะพวกเขายังได้นำมาโชว์เพื่อให้คุณครูให้เด็กๆในห้องได้ดูนะคะว่าอาหารเหล่านี้เนี่ยมาจากที่ไหนนะคะมีที่มาจากที่ไหนมาจากในฟาร์มมาจากชาวนาหรือว่าอะไรก็แล้วแต่ของพวกเขา
Okay. So I think now we're looking at the current unit. What's happening next?
So our fourth and current unit is where we are in place and time, and homes are built in different ways and help us with our needs. During this unit, we will be looking at different kinds of homes, how homes are different from one another based on weather, landscapes, and our individual needs. We will also explore the different kinds of materials that we can use to build our houses. In this unit, we incorporate literacy and numeracy info into our unit by focusing on asking questions and using the correct vocabulary to describe the materials, function, needs, etc., as well as how we can use different kinds of shapes during the building process. So this unit is a lot about simple math.
As you see, it is under where we are in present time. It is not just understanding different types of homes. It is also connecting with the past. How it was different in the past, how it is now. So this is going to make the children think why it's changing. Again, connecting with the needs, based on the needs, how it is changing. And is it same everywhere? Is it same for all living things? So when I look into all these 4 different units, Martin will also agree that this is all for the K2 to explore around them, what they see around them, get more knowledge about it, and make connections with whatever they are able to see around themselves. So it's basically understanding their own surroundings, their own family, their own set of emotions and ideas, and developing in-depth knowledge about the environment.
And the way you're talking about it now highlights the importance of the order of the units, because this is kind of integrating everything that they've covered throughout the year into their last unit of inquiry. You mentioned describing things, so that's of course very sensual. It's look, it's sight, it's hear, it's sound, and then obviously then touching things. So all of it comes integrated together, and then you've got your last unit that wraps it all up.
True. And through all these units, they're developing their numeracy skills, for sure, making it stronger and stronger. As you are saying in the last unit, they're applying their understanding of shapes. Language skills, starting from what they can see, hear, taste, using those vocabulary to feelings and emotions. How do we express it using the proper vocabulary and proper language, and taking it further to share the responsibility, getting more complicated sentences to express their ideas and thoughts, and at the end connecting it with the past and the present. So they are developing their language skills really strong here. They are developing their numeracy skills. They are developing all these ATL skills, from starting from thinking very in general, observing research skills, where when we are talking about research skills, observing the small little things around them, using their senses to apply that research skill here to communicate with their grandparents and parents, get more information and apply the knowledge here. So
usually when we started this unit, we would ask them, how does your house look like? How do you think, where do you live? We can show them different houses as a provocation. For example, igloo. We would ask them, how do you think? Can you live in an igloo here in Thailand? Usually the children would laugh a lot, say no. I would ask, but why no? It looks very nice. I would like to live in an igloo. They'll say, oh no, it's so hot. So the igloo will definitely melt here. And so we'd also ask them to look at the houses around them. And as you mentioned, we'd ask them, how do you think, is the house that you are living in now is different from the house of your grandparents? Or when you are inside of the city, and this is about direction, do the houses look the same as outside in the village maybe? So they will think more and more at what surrounds them, and for sure this is about shapes. We will ask them a lot what houses can look like. Can it be a round circle? Usually they would say no. And also we improve their fine motor skills because they will try to build the house on their own from the materials that they can get.
And I think you talked about the provocation and really how important that is, engaging interest and creating all that wonder that we want children to have, and taking it from the approach of personalizing their experience first about where you live, and then showing them the completely unfamiliar, the wild and the crazy spot where somebody else might live, and then how they're able to create that wonder and enthusiasm for everything they're learning from those 2 steps. I think that's really, really well done and great, very important.
Sure. So I would like also to tell you more about the journey so far. What we have been studying during the year can be seen the most at the time of our PYP Assembly. This is a very important period of the school year. So we usually have 2 assemblies per year to celebrate the students' learning, and this is done by having students reflect on their learning through various means like a short dramatization, singing a song or dancing. And while doing the assembly, students will also have the opportunity to plan what exactly did they like the most during the units and what they would like to share.
I agree with it. It is definitely a big, it has a lot of importance for the students, not only for the teachers. And it's sad that we cannot invite all our parents. Parents used to love to come to school for the PYP Assembly to watch the children demonstrating their knowledge and understanding about the unit. But we do share all the videos now. It's the new way to understand technology and apply our own skills, tech skills here. But yeah, it is very important. Children will love, they look for it.
And what do you feel children gain from the PYP Assembly, from participating in it?
ใน PYP Assembly นะคะเด็กๆเนี่ยเขาตื่นเต้นกับการแสดงมากๆค่ะซึ่งก่อนที่เราจะมาแสดงเนี่ยนะคะเด็กๆเขาฝึกซ้อมกันนะคะฝึกซ้อมเพื่อถ่ายทอดเกี่ยวกับหน่วยการเรียนรู้ที่พวกเขากำลังเรียนรู้อยู่ค่ะให้กับเพื่อนๆในระดับชั้นอื่นให้กับพี่ๆในระดับชั้นอื่นนะคะแล้วก็ผู้ปกครองเนี่ยได้เข้ามาชมการแสดงของพวกเขานะคะ เขาก็เลยรู้สึกว่าเขาตื่นเต้นมันเป็นความท้าทายความสามารถของเขานะคะในการเต้นในการแสดงบทบาทสมมุติให้กับทุกๆคนได้ดูค่ะว่าเขากำลังเรียนในเรื่องอะไรอยู่ค่ะ
I would also like to add about the importance of the social interaction at this PYP assembly. Although you can only see a small part of it, you can see that there are several grades being together at one area, and this is so important for the kids to see not only their classmates who they are used to see, but to see the other grades as well. So they actually have an opportunity to make new connections, to meet new friends, and when they see that there are so many children enjoying this event, they also feel a special kind of joy that you can get only when it's a big event.
Yeah, empowerment really, I think. Children get empowered by their participation in PYP Assembly, and a lot of that comes from the reaction of the audience, the reaction from those that are watching their teachers, and of course their parents when they get to see it and celebrate their achievement as well. It's great.
Okay, we've been talking about this through various unit, the transdisciplinary aspect of learning. So, could you please talk a little bit here how different subjects are integrated when you're doing any unit?
ก็คือการเรียนรู้แบบบูรณาการนะคะในรูปแบบของ PYP เนี่ยคือการสร้างการเชื่อมโยงระหว่างความรู้และประสบการณ์ก่อนหน้าค่ะเข้ากับสิ่งใหม่นะคะเพื่อเสริมความเข้าใจให้เขาเข้าใจมากขึ้นค่ะเป็นการเรียนรู้ที่ไม่ได้จำกัดอยู่ในแค่ขอบเขตของแต่ละวิชาเท่านั้นนะคะแต่ว่าเป็นการเชื่อมโยงองค์ความรู้ของวิชาต่างๆเข้าด้วยกันค่ะคุณครูยกตัวอย่างเช่นวิชา PE นะคะถ้าเราบูรณาการเข้ากับหน่วยการเรียนรู้UOI นะคะเราก็อาจจะให้เด็กๆเรียน PE นะคะแล้วก็แสดงสัญลักษณ์ท่าทางดูสัญลักษณ์แล้วก็แสดงท่าทางออกมานะคะตอนนั้นเราอาจจะกำลังเรียนเรื่องเกี่ยวกับ feeling อยู่ก็ได้นะคะแล้วก็ดูว่าถ้าเป็นสัญลักษณ์สีแดงเด็กๆจะต้องทำท่าทางง่วงนอนเด็กๆนอนยังไงเป็นท่าทางนอนหรือว่าถ้าเป็นสีเขียวให้เป็น feeling ที่กำลังสนุกสนานเด็กๆก็จะแสดงท่าทางที่สนุกสนานออกมาประมาณนี้นะคะค่ะถ้าเป็นมิวสิกเอามาบูรณาการร่วมกันกับหน่วยการเรียนรู้ UOI ก็คือคุณครูเขาก็จะให้เด็กๆเนี่ยนะคะเต้นร้องเพลงหรือว่าเล่นเครื่องดนตรีนะคะที่เกี่ยวข้องกับในหน่วยการเรียนรู้นั้นๆค่ะถ้าเป็นอาร์ตเด็กๆก็จะวาดภาพนะคะหรือสร้างผลงานขึ้นมานะคะเป็นการประดิษฐ์หรือวาดภาพก็แล้วแต่นะคะเกี่ยวกับหน่วยการเรียนรู้ที่เด็กๆกำลังเรียนอยู่เป็นแมทเป็นแมนดารินทุกวิชาจะบูรณาการร่วมกันหมดเลย
So as Anne has mentioned, while we're studying different topics, we'll have other specialist teachers that will talk about the same topic but using different way, like using different materials or different activities. For example, when we were talking about the unit 3 about the food and responsibility and the farm animals for sure, then at the Mandarin lessons the students would also study how to name farm animals in Chinese.
Great. And actually in kinder, pre or early years, it is all integrated. Let's look into senses, the first unit that we started here. Definitely there is a language integration, numeracy integration, but look beyond it. If the child did want to know and learn all the colors, which is first step towards art, they use them. They learn the language, they are able to recognize all these colors. So they are exploring arts during this unit of inquiry. They are learning the names of all the colors. They are going around in the nature, they are looking in the nature. They come back, you give them a lot of opportunities to draw there, and they are developing their drawing skills there. Now, when they are talking about it, or doing their role play, or even the music in the classroom, they're listening to the music, they're doing they're developing both fine arts here, listening to, that is a sense, but they're developing fine arts skills here.
Mhm.
And when I'm saying fine arts, it's more like movement, not really dancing, use or learning a very typical dance, but they are developing it within themselves. So it is all integrated.
Yeah. Even the food unit, because it obviously seed to plate is very scientific processes that food goes through. Where does it come from? But you also introduce the social studies aspect of the responsibility we have for food and responsibilities for other people that might be within our immediate environment and giving them food too. So you've got both sides to the point here when you think about the science and the social studies integrated together too.
Also the organization aspect, as we are saying, it moves from one place to another place. How it is transported, or learning about packaging, or even like understanding the value of shop. Okay, so there is a lot of social science with science there. There is a lot of arts and other subjects that is integrated when we are giving them the opportunity to play around.
Yeah, that's it. Multiple perspectives equals deeper learning and understanding.
And also, while we're talking about the topics that we cover, I would also like to tell more about the highlights of the year. So we have the PYP Assembly, which I have mentioned already, and we also have the three-way conference. It's a special event when the parents and the children can come together to the school. So actually, the child would have the opportunity to show the surroundings of the school, to tell their parents what exactly they were doing there, what they exactly were learning, how do they like this place, and or what friends do they have. So it's a great way for the parents to see the actual classroom, actual surroundings, and be able to communicate with the child and with the teacher at the same time.
And one of my favourite ones as a teacher is going to be coming up towards the end of the year, of course, which will be the Learning Journey Conference. Tell us a little bit about the Learning Journey, Kuran.
Learning Journey นะคะก็คือการที่ผู้ปกครองนะคะคุณพ่อคุณแม่เข้ามาพบกับคุณครูประจำชั้นแล้วก็พาน้องมาด้วยนะคะถ้าเด็กๆเข้ามาเนี่ยคุณพ่อคุณแม่ก็คุยกับคุณครูนะคะคุยกับผู้เชื่อว่าน้องอยู่ที่ห้องเป็นยังไงบ้างนะคะมีพัฒนาการอย่างไรนะคะมีส่วนไหนบ้างที่น้องจะต้องเสริมที่น้องจะต้องพัฒนาให้ดีขึ้นนะคะหลังจากนั้นเนี่ยที่คุณครูคุยกับผู้ปกครองแล้วนะคะเด็กๆก็อาจจะโชว์กิจกรรมบางอย่างให้ผู้ปกครองดูก็ได้ว่าอย่างเช่นโชว์การเรียนรู้แมทว่าเด็กๆเรียนรู้อะไรมาบ้างภาษาไทยเด็กๆเรียนรู้อะไรมาบ้างนะคะสามารถโชว์ให้ผู้ปกครองดูได้
Again, very empowering for children, taking that responsibility for their learning and then demonstrating and taking their parents on that journey that they have taken throughout the year.
And that's, if you think from a child perspective, it's so much of responsibility on them. You know? I mean, you are sharing all that you have learned throughout the year with your parents, and your teachers are not around you at that time. It's your responsibility to make sure that your parents understand it. For a K2 child, definitely to do a conference like that, it needs a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the goal of the PYP is mirrored in our goal as SBS is developing lifelong learners, and that starts in the early years. That starts with us in kindergarten. That journey is a process. And giving them the tools, the confidence, the opportunity, and these children can achieve, no doubt about it.
So talking about the lifelong learners, what are the goals and expectations that we start to have with K2 for such a long journey? So some of the students' goals would be reading, such as letter recognition, introducing to the sight words and blending, and talking about reading and writing, the writing continuum. K2 is exactly where it starts to transform into something bigger. So having the continuum from K1 through K2 and to K3. In K1, students will start with pre-writing skills. It's like how to hold a marker, how to hold a crayon, how they can draw something. Maybe first it will be just circles, then they will transform into the lines, and maybe later they will come up to the shapes. So in K2, starting with the shapes and some simple drawing, we try to guide the students how they can form a letter. It might start with simple lines and then it will have a clear definition. And when we are speaking about the writing, we do not speak about just the worksheets that students are using in the other schools, because in our schools we would try to do it with different materials, like they can write on the sand with their hands, so they'll incorporate their sense of touch as well. Or they can go outside and try to write on the ground with sticks, because many children, they love to do it. And later, when we also have the whiteboard in the classroom, so and lots of paper. And when the children would feel that they are ready to express themselves and to draw something, they would go take the paper and draw what they feel like they want to draw. So that's how the writing starts. Usually we have the writers workshop in K2, so we would ask them to draw a picture, to plan what they want to share with the others, what do they think about. After they planned what exactly do they want to draw, they will draw the picture, and later we would ask them to try to write some letters which they have seen. So this is where the reading is connected as well, because we are using the Jolly phonics system, and it's mostly about the sounds of the phonics. So this gives an opportunity, children an opportunity to speak the word, and then to try to hear what exactly sounds, what phonics do they hear. And as long as they will understand how the phonics and letters are blended together, they can try to write their first letters. So in the long-term goal, these children will be able to write down the words based on what they can hear while they're speaking.
That's it. It's developing independent writing skills. And there's no great mystery to it. It's a process. It's a developmental process. And as you mentioned, it starts at the earliest point with mark making on paper, scribbles. And as fine motor skills develop, that scribble becomes more of a defined picture. As their phonics skills are being introduced, they go together in parallel. So those pictures start to becoming maybe letters, as you mentioned, and eventually blending into words. And then as they go further, it's about the conventions of writing, and then the spaces, the uppercase, the lowercase, the full stops. And it is that process. And our goal for kindergarten children is to be in the independent writing phase when they go on to P1. Very much non-traditional, but we don't sacrifice the short-term gain for the long-term. We're focusing on developing long-term skills, and that's really important. What about Writers' Workshop on Thai? Is it working the same way, Kumam?
จะเป็นคล้ายๆกับของภาษาอังกฤษนะคะในส่วนของภาษาไทยเนี่ยการเขียนก็จะมีกิจกรรมหลายๆแบบให้เด็กๆได้ทำนะคะโดยนำความรู้เดิมจากตอน K1 มาใน K1 เนี่ยเด็กๆจะเรียนแค่ตัวพยัญชนะนะคะแต่พอมา K2 เด็กๆก็จะเริ่มรู้พยัญชนะแล้วเราก็จะทบทวนอีกทีหนึ่งนะคะแล้วก็ใส่สระบางตัวเข้าไปเพิ่มด้วยนะคะในการเขียนเนี่ยก็คือจะมีกิจกรรมปนเล่นก็คืออย่างเช่นเขียนในทรายเขียนในกระดานดำนะคะใช้เส้นสปาเกตตี้นะคะให้เด็กเขียนหรือว่าใช้กระดุมมาต่อเป็นคำสั้นๆง่ายๆนะคะเมื่อเด็กๆสามารถทำกิจกรรมเหล่านี้ได้แล้วเนี่ยก็จะให้เด็กลองฝึกเขียนค่ะเขียนในสมุดนะคะโดยเขียนจากประสบการณ์ของตัวเองนะคะในการเขียนอันนี้เนี่ยเพื่อให้เขาสนุกมากขึ้นนะคะกับการเขียนนะคะก็จะให้เขาเนี่ยได้ลองนึกจินตนาการเรื่องราวนะคะเรื่องราวในประสบการณ์ การของเขานะคะอย่างสมมติว่าคุณครูเนี่ยให้หัวข้อไปนะคะให้หัวข้อไป1หัวข้อเกี่ยวกับครอบครัวเด็กๆลองนึกสิคะว่าในครอบครัวเด็กๆจะเขียนอะไรออกมาดีนะคะจะมีคุณพ่อคุณแม่หรืออะไรให้เด็กๆลองหลับตาแล้วก็นึกจินตนาการนะคะเกี่ยวกับเรื่องที่คุณครูให้หลังจากนั้นเนี่ยให้เด็กๆลองเล่าให้เพื่อนๆฟังนะคะเมื่อเล่าให้เพื่อนๆฟังเสร็จแล้วลองนำมาเขียนในสมุดนะคะวาดภาพแล้วก็เขียนคำสั้นๆโดยมีคุณครูนะคะคอยช่วยนะคะคอยช่วยว่าคำนี้เราออกเสียงแบบนี้เราจะสะกดอย่างไรเราจะมีวิธีการเขียนอย่างไรตั้งแต่การจับดินสอการลากเส้นนะคะไปจนถึงการเขียนออกมาเป็นคำสั้นๆค่ะ
Actually, what I like to add here is when you look into all this work here, you'll see how the children they are feeling satisfied. It's a sense of achievement. It's building confidence and taking pride of their own work. That helps them to motivate, to learn better and know more. So when you're actually giving them a scope, a chance where they can share their ideas on their own, not just see from somewhere and write it down or trace it. It is not monotonous. It is more of a fulfilling sense that motivates them to know more and do better.
So while we are doing this writing, we can also talk that usually the writing path and the reading path, they come along together. So using the Jordan phonics system to improve their reading skills, at first it continues with their writing. So at K2 we're working on blending the phonics until they become the whole word. So at this point the children will learn how to read the simple words like CBC words, and we also have the sight words. It's about 10 sight words that they will learn at K2. So it will be easier for them to read a sentence. By the end of K2, not even the end, at this point the students are able to read the simple sentences like it is a cat. And if they can read it, it's easier for them to write it down as well.
Yeah, it is. It's balanced literacy. It goes together hand in hand, all those skills together.
So during the year, before we come to our writing goals, we will also have various types of assessments. Assessments usually help us to understand where is the child now and where the child will need to go. So the assessments, they can be group or individual. We need to understand where most of our kids are at this point of time, and as our teaching is mostly every child should have individual goals. It's important for us not only to see where the most of the class are, but to specify about every particular student, because the goals might be different, but it's more important to understand at what point did you start and how far did you go, because everyone has a different opportunity. The pace of learning is also different, and it's normal. That's why we, even during the teaching, we might have different students combined together according to their abilities, and that's why the assessment is very helpful.
Yeah.
It talks about the purpose of assessment.
Yeah.
What is the purpose? Are you going to assess where the child is and how far the child has moved forward? Are you going to assess the skills? That's how the different assessment tasks are being designed. So as we are talking before, where the child is, that is our pre-assessment or our beginning of your assessment, when we look into where the child is, and then we set the goals for different children, individual children, so that there is an individual target for the children to achieve it. Along with, as a class, we have certain targets to meet together. when we are looking into the progress of the child and giving them the feedback at the proper time, that is what is the formative assessment is. And as we are talking about, it could be group assessment, it could be individual assessment. Yes, of course, when you are working together as a group, you are looking into different skills development too, and giving them the right feedback to develop those skills, because this is the age when they develop those skills. So, purpose of assessment and types of assessments, they go hand in hand.
Yeah. And assessment to guide learning, it's not only about the end part, the end goal, it's all about the process that goes in between too.
Yeah, it's an ongoing process, and one of the things that I like the most about the assessment is that we're using various tools. It's not only the teacher's observation checklist, but it's also the self-assessment reflection sheets, and this is exactly what you can see at this slide. So we have the self-reflection sheet about the senses. So the students would actually draw what did they like the most about the unit, what was the most interesting part. Did they like the unit at all, or they didn't like it? Because some students, they didn't like the particular part, maybe about the insects. And so this is for them to see what they have learned and to reflect on it, whether they liked it or not. And this is again promote their reflection, which is very important. And that's how they can get the idea of what they were like before and what they are now.
Yeah. Also assessment for the teacher, right? It's like the children are giving us feedback on how well they've enjoyed their unit, so they're almost assessing us and our performance too.
It is true. I mean, that gives us the scope to use our own reflection and reflect back on our own practices. Adam, would you like to add something about the assessment, how it is different based on the child requirement?
ในส่วนของการประเมินนะคะก็จะมีการประเมินเป็นกลุ่มแล้วก็มีการประเมินแบบรายบุคคลนะคะการประเมินเนี่ยคุณครูก็จะประเมินตอนก่อนที่จะเรียนดูว่าเด็กๆเนี่ยได้แค่ไหนนะคะเด็กๆมีความรู้เดิมมาแค่ไหนแล้วก็ประเมินอย่างต่อเนื่องเป็นระยะมาเรื่อยๆค่ะระหว่างที่เด็กๆเรียนก็คือตรวจสอบว่าเด็กๆเนี่ยสามารถเข้าใจได้ไหมทำได้ไหมในสิ่งที่คุณครูกำลังสอนเขาอยู่นะคะซึ่งการประเมินเนี่ยจะมีในหลากหลายรูปแบบนะคะในแต่ละคนการประเมินอาจจะใช้รูปแบบการประเมินไม่เหมือนกันนะคะเนื่องจากว่าเด็กๆแต่ละคนมีความสามารถหรือว่าความชอบที่แตกต่างกันนะคะเช่นเด็กคนที่1อาจจะประเมินด้วยการวาดภาพเด็กคนที่2คุณครูอาจจะประเมินเขาด้วยการแสดงบทบาทสมมุติเด็กคนที่3คุณครูอาจจะประเมินเขาด้วยการให้เขาเนี่ยออกมาพรีเซนต์ที่หน้าชั้นเรียนก็ได้ค่ะการประเมินเนี่ยนะคะก็จะมีในการประเมินเนี่ยเด็กๆจะต้องคิดแผนก่อนนะคะว่าเขาเนี่ยจะทำอะไรนะคะแล้วก็วางแผนนะคะทำอะไรแล้ววางแผนจะวางแผนกับเพื่อนหรือว่าทำงานเดี่ยววางแผนคนเดียวนะคะพอวางแผนเสร็จเขาจะต้องเตรียมตัวค่ะเตรียมตัวเพื่อที่จะสร้างผลงานสร้างชิ้นงานนะคะเมื่อวางแผนเตรียมตัวแล้วก็เตรียมอุปกรณ์ค่ะแล้วก็ลงมือทำเมื่อเขาลงมือทำนะคะลงมือทำผลงานของเขาเสร็จแล้วเนี่ยก็จะออกมานำเสนอให้กับเพื่อนๆแล้วก็คุณครูได้ชมที่หน้าชั้นเรียนค่ะ
While talking about the assessment and different strategies can be used, we can also talk more about the role play and play in general. So, as we all know, especially in the kindergarten at this age, play is a very important learning tool. Most of the things that the children will explore in this age, they will be in a form of play. So during the play, they can promote their inquiring skills, and that's what we actually want for them to get. So they will ask more questions. They will be more interested in the world and things around them. And for this purpose, we usually use two kinds of play: structured play and unstructured play. So when the children just come to K2 from K1, we would spend more time in structured play. It's when the teacher will create the surroundings for the children, and there will be a certain goal to achieve at the end of the play. For example, we are creating a pattern, so the teacher is the one who is setting this goal. Or for example, on another folder, it was about the unit 3, it was the provocation about the homes. So we have a castle here, how can we use it? And then there will be a game with people living inside the castles and the wolves outside, and that's how the children will move towards their understanding, which can be another goal for them to set. But also unstructured play is very important. It's the time for children to actually put everything that they have learned already into their play. It's like the time for them to reflect, to process all the information that they have learned during the other time. And they also use the self-management. They improve their social skills because most of the children will play together. So they need to find out how they can negotiate, collaborate, use the toys together.
True.
So,
yeah.
Take turns.
And unstructured play goes a lot with the communication skills too, isn't it? Like communicating their ideas, communicating the thoughts, or even like negotiating. They need to use different kind of language to negotiate with different friends.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of skill development through unstructured play. Though people may see that they're just playing, but they're developing so much the language skills and the social skills through unstructured play.
and it's very interesting to see that as far as we go through different units, the children will get more and more ideas of how they can play and what they can play and what role play games can they do.
What about some structured, unstructured play for you, Kuhan?
ค่ะสำหรับในส่วนของคุณครูนะคะก็คือการเรียนรู้เนี่ยนะคะก็คือเด็กๆสามารถเล่นไปด้วยนะคะการเล่นเนี่ยเครื่องมือในการเล่นเพื่อการเรียนรู้ก็คือจะมีเกี่ยวกับเกมการศึกษาต่างๆนะคะแล้วก็คุณครูยกตัวอย่างเช่นถ้าคุณครูสอนภาษาไทยนะคะเด็กๆก็อาจจะเล่นเกมร้อยเชือกให้เป็นตัวพยัญชนะต่างๆนะคะหรือว่าร้อยเชือกให้เป็นคำสั้นๆนะคะก็จะมีการต่อกระดุมเป็นพยัญชนะการเขียนด้วยทรายนะคะการใช้เส้นลวดกำมะหยี่มาทำเป็นตัวอักษรเป็นพยัญชนะนะคะให้ออกมาเป็นคำสั้นๆเป็นคำง่ายๆนะคะการเล่นแสดงบทบาทสมมุตินะคะเพื่อแสดงหัวข้อหนึ่งให้คุณครูให้เพื่อนๆในห้องเข้าใจว่าเขากำลังสื่ออะไรออกมาให้เราเข้าใจอยู่นะคะแล้วก็มีการเล่นในบอร์ดทรายหรือว่าการออกไปเรียนรู้ที่นอกห้องเรียนค่ะแล้วก็คุณครูเนี่ยก็จะจัดกิจกรรมต่างๆเข้ามาประกอบนะคะเช่นออกไปนอกห้องเรียนเพื่อไปสัมผัสกับธรรมชาติเราอาจจะเรียนรู้เรื่องการนับไปด้วยก็ได้การนับตัวเลขนะคะคุณครูอาจจะใช้ลูกบอลนะคะไปวางที่สนามบอลสนามเด็กเล่นเพื่อให้เขานับว่าลูกบอลนี้มีจำนวนเท่าไหร่นะคะนี่ก็คือเป็นการเล่นส่วนหนึ่งที่คุณครูนำมาใช้ในกิจกรรมการเรียนการสอนค่ะ
Okay. All right. So that pretty much wrapped up our webinar for today. I'd like to thank the team for coming to join and to share their understandings about teaching and learning in K2. We hope that you at home got a lot from this webinar. If there is any questions, we will take them down. We'll have a look through the comments and we will use that to feed future webinars. Coming up, we do have a webinar session that is something we've tried a little differently. We recorded a session on the importance of early childhood education, and we're going to create a live Q&A based off this webinar, so that will provide a lot more feedback and interaction from you guys at home. But for now, we will say goodbye and thank you for tuning in. So it's Cap and Cap for me. Okay, thank you.
Bye.